Hey guys, my name is Evan and welcome to Country View Acres. So you can see that today is a pretty nice, bright and sunny day out here. We've got a blanket of snow on the ground and that is even making it brighter. It is almost blinding out here. So this week's been a pretty cold week for us. It's a lot colder temperatures. We got snow 3 times this week. And yesterday I spent half the day plowing the driveway, getting it all clear so people can drive in and out of the property. But today I want to work on our garden area. So you can see our fenced in garden behind us, and I want to start our first seeds for the garden. And we'll be starting those and growing those inside. But out in the garden right now, I actually had 4 different types of plants that I had growing in the garden, and I was trying to grow those through the wintertime. And I am not for sure how they did through this cold weather. The coldest day we had was -9 degrees. So I thought the first thing we do, we can go out in the garden. We may have to uncover the snow off of some of these plants, and let's just see how my winter garden's doing, see if it survived this cold weather. So in this raised bed right here, this was onions that are overwintering in here. And you can see, you know, I do have some green plants. Find a place that's not shaded. See, I got some green plants sticking up through here. So they're still green. May have to get these uncovered and check them out. So I've got most of the snow off of these onions, and you can see, you know, there's a lot of green. Most of these onions have a little bit of green left on them. And I've got these planted in this woven weed barrier here. It's black, so I'm hoping that the sun's gonna hit this, it start warming up, and it'll melt the rest of the snow off of here, and then maybe we'll have a better look at it here in a little bit. But I think onions are fairly hardy. You know, the tops of these may die off, but I still think that there'll be enough energy left in the onion bulb that they'll end up coming back. So we may have lost a few of them, but I think the majority of these will end up surviving. So you can see behind me, I've got some low tunnels that I built over some raised beds, and I've been trying to grow lettuce through the wintertime. And this one right here has new plastic on it that I just put on this fall. And this one over here had last year's plastic. Now it's nothing special, it's just plastic from the hardware store. And the plastic ended up ripping. So there's several tears in there, cold air is getting in. So I know that one, there's probably no chance anything's still left alive in that one. But let's go ahead and open this one up and see how the plants are doing. Oh, froze shut. All right. Nope. Oh, my kind of froze together. So what you're not going to be able to see is that I had a frost blanket in here. And this frost blanket was an extra layer covering these plants up, and it went over these hoops. But the frost blanket is frozen to the hinged lid right now. So these plants don't look very good at all. I'd say they're all a loss. Well, it's too bad that frost blanket is frozen to the hinged lid, or else you could have seen how everything was laid out a little bit better. So there's the clear plastic, which is the large hoop, and then on the inside there's the smaller hoops right there, and then that frost blanket was on top of there. So there was 2 layers of protection over the lettuce. And that frost barrier, even though it's white, it still lets light through and the plants can still grow. And yeah, it's too bad it got so cold, -9 degrees. This was still, 2 layers was not enough protection to keep that lettuce alive. I'm gonna go ahead and cover it back up. You know, there's a good chance in the middle of that romaine lettuce, there still may be some leaves that were protected from the outer leaves. So these may still spring back once it warms up. We'll just have to wait and see. But I'm gonna go ahead and cover this back up, and we'll open the other one up real quick, see how it looks. There we go. frozen too. Get it off without ripping it. So here you can see the frost blanket a little bit better. Of course, it wouldn't be blowing in the wind when the cover's shut. So underneath here, of course, these plants don't look very good. So you can see most of the lettuce is damaged from the cold weather, and there's actually a few in here that are completely dead. And the frost and the cold weather, it's just too much for them, even with 2 layers of protection. So we also grow kale, and kale is fairly winter hardy, but it got so cold this week. You can see, you know, most of these plants, these smaller plants, they have died off completely. So yeah, it was just a little too cold this week. So the green leaves you still see on here, they're already starting to turn brown. They're rubbery and soft. So I think you're going to see that all the vegetation on here is going to die off. And some of the bigger plants, the ones that are got a pretty decent size, you know, stalk on them, these will probably come back and survive. But I'd say we lost probably at least half of the kale that we have here. So in this raised bed right here, this is hardneck garlic. And hardneck garlic is the proper way to plant it. The way I understand it is you are supposed to let it overwinter just like this. So down in here, start scooping this away here. You can see the plants look similar to onions, but we have 155 hardneck garlic plants that are planted in here. You can see them sticking up. So the garlic is planted in the same type of weed fabric as the onions, so hopefully the sun will come out, start melting that off. But you know, this garlic, this hardneck garlic, is supposed to be planted in the fall and then, you know, harvested the next year. So this should do okay. We'll just have to wait and see. We may end up having a few of these leaves. You can see they may die off, but I'm sure that it'll keep growing from the bulb that's in the ground. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start planting our garden seeds, and I'm using the Clyde's garden planter. And basically this helps you decide when to plant your seeds. So it tells you when to start your seeds inside, and then it tells you when to plant your plants outside. So today is February 20th. So today I need to start cabbage and cauliflower plants this week and start my seeds inside. Now this does list several plants on here. It doesn't have everything listed on here. So it does list onion sets on when to plant onion sets outside, but it doesn't tell you when to plant your onion seeds inside. So I'm going to go ahead and start our onion seeds today as well. You start those very early in the year. And that's what we're going to be planting today. Onions, cauliflower, and cabbage. And then in a couple weeks, I'll have to start our broccoli plants. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pot these outside and to leave the mess outside. So my dirt and my mess is outside. Then we're going to take them inside. We're going to put them on heat mats and under grow lights here in our basement. So the first thing I'm going to plant today is onions. And onions is probably the one thing that stores the best for us. We can just store it inside. We can store it in our basement. And it stores fairly well at room temperature. And we normally have onions that last us all the way to the spring. I mean, we have several that will go bad throughout the winter, but we still have some that will last all the way to the spring. So the two main varieties that I plant where I live is the Patterson hybrid onion. And this is specifically a storage onion. I always try to grow this one because it's designed to store a long time. The next one I normally plant is a candy hybrid onion. And that does well in the area that we're in. So the next one I'm going to try this year is the Walla Walla onion. I just found this at the local store, and that's a popular onion, so I was going to try it out. And then the other one's from Baker Creek. It's the Elsa Craig onion, and these things are like massive, big onions. They're made for fresh eating. They're not made for storage, but they're just supposed to be really big onions. So I was going to try those out. So I'm going to go ahead and get these started planting. So I like to grow my onion seeds in pots, and these are little 4-inch pots. I'll probably plant about 50 seeds in each one of these pots. So the first thing I'm going to do is I just got some potting mix. I'm going to start filling these up. It's a good thing I'm outside because I'm not being real nice and neat with this. So I'm just going to sprinkle these seeds a little bit in each pot. I'll do one packet. I'll put seeds in 3 of these pots here. Just try to spread them out a little bit. Try to do them evenly, I guess. So I'm just going to press this down a little bit, make everything nice and level, just barely pressing the seeds into the soil. So now I've just got some seed starting mix, and this stuff is some really light and fluffy material. I'm just going to put a little bit of a covering on here just to cover up the seeds, just a thin layer. So I'll just go ahead and get the rest of these onions planted. Holy cow. So these are the Elsa Craig onions from Baker Creek, and there is a ton of seeds in that Baker Creek packet. Man, there is a lot of them. I'll probably have to do a couple more pots for these onions. So I've got my onion seeds all planted, and that packet from Baker Creek, it ended up filling 6 of these 4-inch pots. So let's go ahead, we'll take these inside, we're going to get these all watered, we're going to get them on top of a heat mat and under some grow lights. So last year I started growing everything else in these 2.5-inch pots. And before that I used to use plug trays. And a plug tray would have over 100 plants inside of the same amount of space. So you could grow a lot in a small area. But the problem was, after about 2 weeks after they sprouted, 2-3 weeks after they sprouted, you needed to transplant them to another pot because they'd get root bound in those small little plug trays. So I ended up, I like these 2.5-inch pots better. Reason being is I can grow a plant in here and it can grow for a couple months without any issues, and then I can transplant it directly in the garden and I can have a nice big plant, and I don't ever have to worry about transplanting it to another pot. So now I'm going to go ahead and plant my cauliflower. I've got amazing cauliflower from Baker Seed. I'm going to try to drop 2 seeds in each one of these. Sometimes I might drop 3 by accident. Now I'm just lightly covering the seeds back up. Then we'll take them inside and water them, get them on a heat mat. So I got all of my onions planted, and I got 1 tray of cauliflower planted, and then I didn't have any more potting soil. So I ended up running into town, bought some potting soil. Of course, it's been sitting outside, right? So it was frozen. Most of the soil in the bag was frozen, just broke into chunks. So I took some of that soil, I put it in a tray, and I set it inside. So it should thaw out overnight, and that soil will loosen up. So tomorrow I should be able to plant another tray of cauliflower. And then I'm going to plant some cabbage as well. I've never grown cabbage yet, so this will be a first time growing cabbage. So we'll get some of that planted up hopefully tomorrow. And it was nice to finally plant some garden seeds. I think that changes something inside of you. Once you do that, that spring fever gets even worse, I think. It's like, oh, I cannot wait till gardening season. I can't wait till it warms up. So, yeah, I definitely am looking forward to to spring when it comes, and hopefully it's coming soon. Hopefully this is the last week of winter weather. It's supposed to warm up next week. It should be above freezing every day, so this will start melting off a little bit every day. And yeah, like I said, hopefully this is the last of this cold winter weather, and then it starts warming up. Everything will green up, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff we want to get done this year, so I'm ready to get started. So Anyway, I think that's it for this video. You can tell that the day is over with, and I think I'm going to go inside and relax a little bit more today. So I didn't really do too much in today's video. This is more of a relaxing day for me. I know a lot of people say that they get tired watching me do all this work all the time. Well, there is days where I don't work as hard, like today. It just don't normally show up in a video that way. I mostly film when I'm working on something. That's just kind of the way I do things. But I do have a relaxing day from time to time. And this is one of them. This is definitely one of them. So, well, I hope you guys have a relaxing day. And stay warm, and I'll see you in the next one.